houses that have been on the market for 2, 3 months, and now they're in competing situations and they're getting three offers over a weekend and it's going over asking. And it happens just like that. So it's definitely transitioning.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is The Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Pull up a chair. Welcome to The Closing Table. My name is Kevin McIntosh, your host. Joining us on this episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Brad Fall. How you doing, Brad?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, man. Appreciate your time being here today, man. Let's talk a little bit about your experience and insights into real estate. First, let's talk about what led us to this point right here. You were part of it's a company called Tree Stand Brew. You also worked at Planet Fitness, and now you're a real estate agent. Let's talk about what led you here, including those previous experiences.
Yeah, man. It's been a journey, man. It has. So lots of exciting stuff. So we'll start with Planet Fitness because that came first before the Tree Stand Brews idea kind of
Okay.
developed and happened. So I was living in Mount Pleasant at the time, and Planet Fitness was coming to town, and I needed something to pay rent, and that's all it was supposed to be. And one thing led to the other, and I fell in love with it. I loved what I was doing there. We used to joke and say, we're a people development company that happens to run gyms. And it was right up my alley, man. It was a blast. We were really big on self development, personal development, leadership development, just
Right.
at all levels. And it was great, and I felt like I was learning skills that will carry with me for the rest of my life. But I've always been very entrepreneurial. Always wanted something that I could have as a creative outlet and kind of grow and develop. And I was dabbling in the e-commerce space just a little bit, getting into drop shipping and that whole, you know, uh,
Okay, I'm familiar. Right.
niche there. And it was a blast. It was fun. Learned a lot. But I was like, I want to kind of build a brand here. And at the time, I had a community Instagram page, and that's all it was. It was called Tree Stand Views. I'm into hunting. I'm an outdoorsman, so I was like, all right, cool.
Okay.
Just something community focused. Use this hashtag, and we'll repost your picture or whatever. And I was like, how can I take this the next step? How can I either monetize this, and continue to build this community and add value to the community? Because I think that's the biggest thing is, if you have a community, how are you adding value? So Tree Stand Views developed into Tree Stand Brews. I'm also a little bit of a coffee snob here, so I was like, how
Okay.
perfect to kind of blend the two together here. So I found a roasting business down in Ohio that was doing wholesale white label stuff, and I connected with them and was able to build a coffee brand, which developed into Tree
Nice.
Stand Brews. So it was a lot of fun. It was
Nice.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you still actually operate that brand, that coffee company, correct?
I do not anymore.
Oh.
Through some transition periods of Planet, it was scaling to a point that I couldn't do it justice anymore. You know what I mean? Like it was growing to the
Right.
point where I needed more time to dedicate to it specifically that I couldn't give it at that point in time in my life. And I actually ended up selling the business, which was it was pretty cool. It was a cool process to go
Yeah.
through. But
Yeah.
I still think about it though, man. I'm
You
itching
have
still. I'm
to.
like, maybe we'll get back into it and we'll do something new. We'll see. But yeah, who knows what the future holds?
Yeah. Your first love. I understand, you
Yep,
know.
exactly,
I get
exactly.
it. Okay, so let's talk about transitioning into real estate from your previous experience. How do you feel like your previous experience from Tree Stand Brews and Planet Fitness shaped you to be a successful real estate agent today?
Yeah. Where to start? I think starting with Planet Fitness and the uh, customer service aspect of it, of course, is going to translate very well into real estate. We're in a people business.
Mm-hmm.
We're constantly we're conversating and setting appointments, conversating and setting appointments. That's what we do. And Planet Fitness kind of was a perfect segue for me with that. Uh, and actually, if I can go more big picture, I was able to get to a regional position with Planet, which allowed me to oversee multiple clubs and more big picture, spreadsheets and all that fun stuff,
Okay.
But being a part of a team in that way and holding a leadership position for development, which is what we were so big on, it gets me so excited because we do the same thing here at our brokerage, and we're constantly supporting each other, constantly looking for new ways to grow and develop. And that's exactly what we did at Planet. So there's actually been quite a few things that I was able to pull from there and basically copy and paste and just adjust a few things for ERA here as well. Tree Stand Brews,
Right.
I think it's more of the creativity and the outlet and the marketing. Marketing is huge. I mean, that is majority of our jobs when we're not in an appointment, we're marketing, and I
Correct.
love technology. I love cameras. I love the whole industry when it comes to that type of stuff. So it was right up my alley too. But yeah, so
Nice.
I guess I would say the marketing translated really well, the personal development translated really well, and the people skills that were developed throughout that time has translated to real estate really well too.
Right. Nice. Nice. Did you make this transition from Planet Fitness to real estate? Was this during the pandemic? After the pandemic? Did the pandemic have any effect on
Yeah,
that decision ultimately?
yeah, smack dab in the middle, right in the middle of it all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I real estate had always been inevitable for me. I grew up in the industry and it was always a
Mm-hmm.
matter of when, not if. And when the pandemic
Mm.
happened and my life was kind of transitioning with Planet and we were adjusting, I was like, if God was giving me a sign, this is it. Now's the time, and
Yeah.
um, it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
now's the time to make the jump. So I gave a couple months notice and I went in head first. I mean, I there is no backup option. There was no bridge. This is it.
I feel it.
So
Right.
started the next chapter of life just like that.
Yeah, man, that was a period where a lot of people made some career changes and,
Mhm.
different life choices during that pandemic. But knowing that the gyms were one of the main businesses affected
Oh,
by the pandemic, like, with all the touching on the equipment and stuff like that, like,
oh
I
yeah.
know that had to had a big effect. So that's why I wanted to ask that, man. But, you made the transition and you survived. And now, a couple years later, you're successful in real estate, top producing agent and in your market also, by the way, just let people know what your market that you're currently serving is.
Yeah, so we're out of Cadillac, Michigan here. So, we
Mhm.
cover majority of northern Michigan though. I always joke that I'll
Right,
do the
right,
whole
right.
state, if we can. But we go up to the bridge and down to Grand Rapids sometimes. So, northern Michigan
Okay.
market though, it's special, man. I love it up here.
Talk about it. What makes it
Yeah,
so
so
unique? Describe Northern Michigan to someone who's never been there.
oh man. Got a little bit of everything. If I had to summarize it into one word, and I was thinking about this the other day, is it's very family oriented. I would say family. In
Mm,
northern Michigan, and I would say even from a real estate perspective, I think some people in some markets it can get really competitive just between agents even. And one thing that I love and appreciate about being up here is we get along with everybody. It's
mm,
not so much we have the healthy competition, but it's not anything that's toxic. We view each other as coworkers. We view each other as colleagues, and there's a level of respect and love that we give each other for deals and transactions that we work on. And then for somebody that's looking to move up here, it's gorgeous, man. It's gorgeous, and everybody's got their
nice.
preference, the city living versus, a little more rural, being out in the country and having some space. But I'd say we got the best of both worlds up here too, whether you're tapping into the Traverse City market or even just the surrounding areas. A lot of these towns, even Cadillac is growing, where we got a lot of those amenities now, but yet you have the peacefulness of not being in the city.
Mm. Yeah, good little hybrid areas. You know, a little bit of the city, a little bit of the country, a little bit of mixture of both.
Yeah.
I've never been to northern Michigan. Lived in Michigan my whole life, lower Michigan, but never been in the upper part. So that's great for you to describe that. I have to make my visit up there too.
Oh,
So you
Kevin, you
currently
come on
hold
up, man.
membership.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to take that invitation, man. You
Mhm.
hold a membership committee chair right now for Aspire North Realtors. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the purpose and benefits of holding that committee chair.
Yeah, definitely. So that was
Hmm.
something that I got into really early on. As soon as I started real estate, I tried to get plugged into something. And I felt like no better way to, for one, network and get to know some of my colleagues. Traverse City is not a market that I would say I'm super heavy in, but it's an interest of mine. And it was a great way to kind of get a foot in the door and get involved and understand more of the higher level aspect of like the MLS and how some of those processes work. So this year is my first year as the chairperson for our membership committee. So basically, our responsibilities are onboarding for any new and transferring members into Aspire North. So we're
Mm,
kind of that face of the MLS. You know, we're going to be the ones that are calling you, welcoming you, answering any questions, and being that support. So it's been really cool. It has. It's been fun.
nice, nice. Let's put yourself into this specific situation, right? You're dealing with a client, looking at homes, and one home, there's no other offers, there's no other competition, right? Another home, there's a few offers that they're competing with. How does your strategy change as a real estate agent from dealing with having a client with no competition to having a client with competition? How does your strategy with their offer change?
Yeah. So starting out, there's always things that we can do to make an offer more attractive, always.
Hmm.
But it's always going to be refined by the tolerance of the client. And I like to have a really candid conversation with the buyer and just let them know, like, hey, I'm going to advise you to be as aggressive as you want to be. You know, I don't ever want to put you in a position that you're going to look back on and have any regrets. At the end of the day, you're signing that dotted line at the closing table. I want to make sure that you're happy with that. But I also want to make sure that
Yeah.
we're not missing out on your dream home. So, talking through a couple of those variables that we can adjust and that we can change, because oftentimes we are restricted to whatever the financial situation is for that person at the time. But we always do
Hmm.
our best to negotiate through that. So, I would say to kind of summarize it, though, it's I'm going to be as aggressive as they want me to be, and it's going to come from a candid conversation and what their risk tolerance is like on different aspects. So it does change a lot though from competing situation. You take the mentality of you don't want to miss out on the house versus
Hmm.
can we get a little bit of a deal? You know what I mean? It's a different mentality you have to take into both.
Right, right. Okay. And I'm assuming like that type of situation, it's probably rare that you deal with a situation where there's no competition, right? Like I know the competition in the housing market has been very intense post pandemic, but it's dwindling down, but you're still dealing with some sort of competition. I believe they're saying on average, most homes nationally are getting like 2.5 offers per home or something like that. Does that seem
Yeah.
similar in your market?
Yeah, yeah, and you know what we've noticed the last couple weeks too is winter's always kind of a slow time for us for the most part.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this time of the year, as we're approaching spring, weather's starting to break a little bit. Of course, it's snowing today, but you know, normally sunshine's coming
Mhm.
out and things are changing. So we'd have houses that have been on the market for 2 3 months and now they're in competing situations and they're getting three offers over a weekend and it's going over asking, and it happens just like that, you know. So
Yeah,
it's definitely
yeah, yeah.
transitioning.
Mm, great insight right there. You received 2022 ERA Circle of Honor, which I believe is a very prestigious award and honor. What does that mean to your career to receive that acknowledgement?
Just the beginning. just the beginning. It was very humbling
Mm,
and it was very exciting. The way ERA structures their awards is it's in a tier system, so it was very humbling for me to be early on in the game. You know, in the big picture, I've been doing real estate full time now for 3 years, and it just gets me excited, man. I feel like each year
mhm.
your temperature changes or your tolerance changes, and that then becomes the new normal, and that is the new expectation.
Right.
You know, definitely.
Ah, nice, nice. Plenty more to come. I'm pretty sure of it, man. Are there any awards that you have your mindset on a goal for, or are you just going out there and doing your thing? Anything you're striving
Yeah,
for?
yeah. I say it's kind of two different ones. So for myself personally, I have a personal goal. I want to be the top producer in our office, you know, here locally. And
Okay.
after that, then, you know, again, that tolerance will change. We'll reassess and see what's going to be the next goal after that. But on a brokerage level, though, too, you know, thinking more big picture, I would love to see our brokerage hit a silver status, which is very difficult for a brokerage our size and our location. Um,
Okay.
it takes a lot, you know, in terms of units sold as a brokerage or in volume, but I think we can
Mm.
do it. And I would love to see us up there on the board as a silver status here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, man, you got it. You got it. There you go. Set that goal high, man.
That's right.
Set it
That's
so that it
right.
sounds crazy. That means you're doing the right thing. There it
You
is. There
have
it is.
to. Absolutely.
So you also you say you entrepreneur mind, you have an entrepreneur mindset. And I can tell because we're about to go into another business that you own or operate, Fall Visuals,
Yes, sir.
multimedia production, photography business. You still own and operate this business. And how are you managing this on top of being a real estate agent?
Yeah, I can't lie. I'm gonna be transparent. It's definitely slowed down. I've scaled back on it quite a bit. Just, you know,
Okay.
taking priorities in real estate is definitely the thing that I want to be number one. But back to those planet days, man. I again looking for that outlet. I got my tax return back one year, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy a camera. I'm gonna see what I can do with this thing, and
Nice.
I bought my a Nikon. My first camera was a D7000, and I shot every day. Every day, I was bugging my friends. I was
Yeah.
bugging, you know, coworkers. Like, let's go do a shoot. You know, I build my
Right.
portfolio, all this stuff, and it was a blast. It was so fun, and being able to watch my work transition, you know, year after year after year. And I had the honor and the privilege of working with some people in the industry that were agency photographers, sign models, stuff like that, and that was
Mm.
very very cool. It just wasn't aligning with what I wanted to do in the long term and in the big picture. But I did feel like the skills that were being developed will absolutely serve me into real estate, especially being able to do some of my own photography every now and then. Although I know people like Windows still do a great job. And
Shout out
stuff
to our
like that.
sponsors.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it's a great knowledge to have. So yeah, definitely slow down. Do some of it here and there, uh, weddings, senior photos, stuff like that.
Okay.
But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Weddings are big projects, man. So I mean, you do a couple of those during the season, man. You might be good.
Yes,
So
sir.
I get
That's how
it.
I
I get
feel.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You see what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way too. I just randomly decided to take a leap of faith, just buy a camera. I think it was something like with my tax return or something, or some money I had saved up, and did some YouTube research. Bought a camera. Mine was a Canon T3i or T6 or something like that. It had the
Oh
little
yeah.
the flip screen, but yeah,
Oh, very
same
nice.
thing, man. I had that mindset: go out, shoot every day, and you know, just get
Mhm.
better, man. That's
That's right.
same story. You also host a podcast. You still host this podcast, Ambitious Minds?
So we did it for about a year, and we'd love to bring it back. Life situations changed a little
Okay.
bit in terms of time commitment, but yes, sir, that
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
a blast. Like I love what you're doing here. It's so cool. It's so
Thank
fun
you.
to do too, man. But Ambitious Minds was a
Yeah.
really fun project. I got a good buddy of mine, Eris Taylor. Shout out to ET if you're watching this. Um, and
ET.
yeah, it's one of the most inspirational dudes I've ever met. You know, anybody, he could sit down and talk to anybody, and they'll leave that conversation just feeling fired up. So, what better way
Nice.
to get this out into the world and be able to kind of spread his wings than to do a podcast? And kind of the same direction that we wanted to go with it was the community aspect in building community here, where other entrepreneurs and people in leadership positions that we could come together and have the support system and talk about failures and talk about
Okay.
successes and all learn and grow together, because Eris and I were both starting our own journeys. I was just starting real estate at that point in time too. So it was really cool opportunity to be like, how can we bring others with us that maybe we're curious about what this could look like? And let's be transparent. Let's talk about the failures, the successes, the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. Because I feel like
Right.
a lot of times we see the rewards, we see these videos and people online and the lifestyle that it can bring, which is very attractive. But what you don't see is everything on the back end that they had to go through to get there. So it's kind of like
Mm.
opening the window a little bit to take a peek inside to see what the real day to day can look like.
There it is. There it is. And I'm assuming that's ultimately the message that you wanted people to take away from that platform, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Ambitious
Yep.
Minds. Okay. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Well, I appreciate it, Brad. Thank you for coming here, joining us here on the closing table, man. Before we get out of here, if there's any last words and or you want to tell the people how they can reach out to you, please do so now.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel free. Call, text, email anytime. Phone number is 231-388-2859. All of your Northern Michigan real estate needs, we'll make sure you're taken care of. And if I had one little ending piece, it would just be, if you've ever considered
Hmm.
getting into real estate, if you've ever considered starting your own business, uh, do it. If you're waiting for a sign, let this be your sign, and take that leap of faith and see what you can do.
There it is. There it is, man. He's a great example of that. Mr. Bradley Fall joining us here on the closing table. Thank you again, sir. And I just want to say to our YouTube audience right here, I'm pointing at you. Do us a favor. If you got this far in the video, please hit the like button, hit the share button, and also subscribe to our channel. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. That's a like, that's a 5-star rating, and also subscribing for our latest content. Also like to leave our audience with a question, Brad, before we get up out of here. For any buyers, anyone who's bought a home or looking to buy a home, when you're negotiating against competitive offers, what's the most you're willing to give up before you back out? Drop your comments below. Other than that, we'll see you next time.